There are very few cars that can truly be considered legendary. But the GT40? Oh boy, this is a car that earned its stripes through sheer dominance on the track. But not everything went according to plan. The 1960s were a time of fierce competition in the world of motorsports. At the heart of this competition was the iconic 24 Hours of Le Mans, a grueling race that tested the limits of both man and machine. For years, Ferrari dominated this race, accumulating win after win with no end in sight, until Enzo Ferrari did the one thing he shouldn't have, and that was to insult the Ford Car Company and Henry Ford II personally. At that moment, all hell broke loose. Ford would soon develop a masterpiece of American engineering and raw power, the legendary GT40. But let's first explain how we got here. The story began with the inception of two major car companies. Ford, founded by Henry Ford, revolutionized the automotive industry with the Model T, making cars accessible to the masses. This innovation led to the development of assembly lines and the expansion of Ford branches worldwide. By the time Henry Ford II took over the company in 1945, it faced challenges, including stagnating profits and internal disarray. Determined to restore Ford's glory, Ford II initiated aggressive changes, hiring fresh talent and restructuring the company. On the other side of the Atlantic, Enzo Ferrari, an Italian with a passion for racing, was making waves in the motorsports world. After a stint as a race car driver for Alfa Romeo, Enzo founded Scuderia Ferrari, which later evolved into Ferrari SPA. Despite facing numerous challenges, including the devastation of World War II, Enzo's relentless drive turned Ferrari into a dominant force in racing. Negotiations between Ford and Ferrari seemed promising. Enzo Ferrari, growing weary of daily company operations, appeared receptive to the idea. However, as talks progressed, the deal hit a major stumbling block. Ford's conditions required Enzo to relinquish control of Scuderia Ferrari, his prized racing division, and the foundation upon which the Ferrari brand was built. This was a deal-breaker for Enzo, leading to a dramatic fallout. Enzo's disdain for Ford was palpable. He criticized the company's aesthetics, calling Ford's cars, the company, and even their factory ugly. But the insults didn't stop at business matters. Enzo reportedly made personal jabs at Ford II, suggesting that his grandfather, the original Henry Ford, was a far superior man, and that Ford II was a mere shadow, an unworthy successor. No surprise, Henry Ford II was fuming. He wanted revenge, but Ferrari had a monopoly on the track. So Ford II decided to take matters into his own hands and beat Ferrari at their own game. And what better race to beat them at than the infamous 24 Hours of Le Mans? Enter the GT40. To bring the GT40 to life, Ford assembled a dream team of petrolheads, all of them a bit nuts. But hey, that's what you need when trying to do the unthinkable. Central to this team was Carroll Shelby, a legendary automotive designer and racer. Shelby started out as a chicken farmer, before becoming a racing driver and eventually an automotive design engineer. But the man was a genius when it came to engines. Shelby had previously developed the Shelby Cobra and had a deep understanding of what it took to create a winning race car. Alongside Shelby was Ken Miles, a British-born racer and engineer. Miles was working on cars since his 15th birthday and was a prize mechanic in World War II. It also helped that Miles was a bit of a lunatic, in a good way. The man seemed to fear nothing, pushing himself and his machines to their limits. Miles played a crucial role in testing and refining the GT40, ensuring it was ready to take on Ferrari. The Ford GT40 made its debut in 1964, and boy, was it a sight to behold. However, its performance didn't quite match its looks. At the 24 Hours of Le Mans, both GT40s retired early. Ferrari, on the other hand, was sipping champagne as they clinched the top 3 spots. The Ford GT40s, named so because they stood just 40 inches high, initially faced numerous challenges. In their debut years at Le Mans in 1964 and 1965, the cars, although fast, were plagued with reliability issues. They suffered from a range of problems. Gearboxes failed, head gaskets blew, and the front brake rotors would heat up to a staggering 1,500 degrees in mere seconds, rendering them ineffective. The aerodynamics of the early GT40s were dangerously flawed. At speeds exceeding 200 miles per hour, the cars developed so much lift that they would experience wheel spin. This aerodynamic instability led to 2 GT40s crashing during test drives in 1964. These accidents were so concerning that Ford test driver Roy Salvadori decided to quit the program, saying, "I opted out of that program to save my life." To make sure the GT40's engines could handle the grueling 24 hours of Le Mans, Ford came up with a unique testing method. They ran the engines on a dynamometer, which is basically an instrument that measures power output. But here's the cool part. They used a program to simulate the race's conditions. They even had computer-controlled servo actuators that drove the engine as if it were at Le Mans, complete with pit stops and engine shutdowns. They would keep running the engine until it failed. Then the engineers would figure out what went wrong and start the whole process again. All that hard work paid off, though, because it led to the development of a seriously tough 427 cubic inch V8 engine. Ford came back in '65 with a vengeance, fielding a fleet of GT40s at Le Mans. But alas, Lady Luck wasn't on their side. All the GT40s faced mechanical issues and bowed out. Ferrari, with a smirk, took the crown again. It seemed like Ford was chasing a ghost, but Ford and his team were too damn stubborn to just call it quits. One of the major breakthroughs for the GT40 was when Ford engineer Phil Remington developed a new brake system. It was such a game changer because the pit crew could easily switch out brake pads and rotors during driver changes. This meant that they didn't have to worry about pushing the brakes too far. Ford definitely had an edge with this, but some other teams were crying foul, saying it was an unfair advantage. But hey, there was no rule against this innovative approach. The year 1966 wasn't just any ordinary year in the racing calendar, it was the year destiny had in store for Ford. After facing disappointments in the past, Ford was more determined than ever. They returned to the iconic Circuit de la Sarthe, home of the 24 Hours of Le Mans, with a revamped beast, the GT40 Mark II. This machine was a culmination of all the lessons learned, engineering prowess, and an unbreakable spirit. Right from the start, the GT40s showed immense promise. The sound of their roaring engines sent a clear message to their competitors: we're here to conquer. The race itself was a true masterclass in strategy, endurance, and sheer determination. From day to night and back to day, the GT40s never lost their relentless pace. Sure, they faced challenges along the way: mechanical hitches, unpredictable weather, and the sheer exhaustion of a 24-hour race. But they never gave up, and when the checkered flag finally waved, it was an awe-inspiring sight. The GT40s claimed the top 3 spots, finishing the first, second, and third in a formation that seemed like it was choreographed, but it was a true testament to their dominance. Ferrari, the mighty titan of Le Mans, was dethroned and left to heal its wounds. This victory wasn't just about winning a race, it was a powerful statement. In 1967, the Ford team was back at Le Mans with another GT40, the Mark IV. This time, they were out to prove that their victory in '66 wasn't a fluke. The GT40 had once again dominated the Italian machines, and it seemed like nothing could stop them. Enzo was fuming, but he had to accept the fact that Ford was now the master of Le Mans. In the subsequent years, the GT40 continued its reign of dominance. With back-to-back victories in '68 and '69, Ford had not only beaten Ferrari, but had also established the GT40 as one of the greatest race cars of all time. Ken Miles, the fearless British racer, played a crucial role in the GT40's success. His dedication to pushing the car to its limits was unmatched. Sadly, shortly after the 1966 Le Mans victory, Miles met a tragic end during a test drive of the Ford J car, a precursor to the GT40 Mark IV. His untimely death was a somber reminder of the risks these brave souls took in the pursuit of glory. Carroll Shelby, the mastermind behind the GT40's design, continued to make his mark on the automotive world. After the GT40's triumph, Shelby's collaboration with Ford continued, resulting in the creation of other iconic cars like the Shelby Mustangs. His legacy as an automotive genius is still celebrated today. As for Ferrari and Ford, their paths diverged, but their legacies continued to grow. Ferrari, led by Enzo, remained a force to be reckoned with in motorsports and luxury car manufacturing. Their passion for design and performance has kept them at the forefront of the automotive world. Ford, having proven their mettle on the global stage, shifted their focus to other ventures, but continued to honor their racing heritage. The influence of the GT40 can be seen in Ford's modern supercars, a testament to its enduring legacy. Ultimately, the Ford-Ferrari rivalry of the 1960s was more than just about speed or winning races. It was a story of ambition, innovation, and the indomitable human spirit. It was about legends like Ken Miles and Carroll Shelby, who, with their passion and determination, showed the world what it truly means to race. The Ford GT40 is a timeless classic that will forever remain in the history books. Despite its humble beginnings and struggles, it ultimately triumphed as one of the greatest race cars to ever exist. Its legacy lives on, inspiring generations of racers and car enthusiasts alike. This is the story of the Ford GT40, the car that won it all. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating contents. Thanks for watching and see you soon.